Hey, what's up? Um, hey. I wanted to give everybody an update on my mother's health. I don't know why my camera's always, I think it's from, like you talking on your phone, so of course it gets a little fuzzy. So, I wanted to give everybody an update on my mom. And first, let me just say, when I do these live streams about the coronavirus and my mother's health, I do not get any type of money off of it because YouTube does not monetize any videos that I make that have like keywords about events, like current events. Okay. So when I made the video the other day, when I first started talking about my mom having coronavirus, it wasn't so I can get like clicks and views and stuff like that, or to get some money. YouTube does not monetize those videos. It didn't monetize that last video. YouTube will only monetize a video that doesn't have those type of words. Like some words, YouTube just blocks off, and anybody who tries to use those words in their titles as kind of like clickbait, YouTube will demonetize the video. Okay, so I am not using the name of the coronavirus or anything like that in order to give views or talking about this as a clickbait type of thing so people can come watch my videos. Okay, I just made a video, a live stream maybe 3 days ago, where I was talking about how my mother has been sick for about 2 or 3 weeks, and I talked about how she first ended up getting sick, and during that live stream we were waiting on her to get tested. Now here's what ended up happening. Okay, so she had already talked to the doctors maybe 2 other times, and here we were waiting for her doctor to make a decision. Okay, and what ended up happening is my mother had all of the symptoms and everything, and she's still sick right now. She's a little better. She's not as bad, but I'm gonna get to why she isn't as bad, even though she does have the virus. Okay, now let me also get this out the way. A lot of people kept saying that African American people couldn't contract this type of virus or this type of disease. That is the most arrogant, ignorant thing I've ever heard. Like, I've heard people say things like, oh, you're a child of the sun, you have melanin, there's no way you're going to be able to get the coronavirus, blah blah blah. Oh, the government is trying to trick us, this is something that they're doing to scare us, it's not that serious, it's not that. I've heard a whole bunch of different stories, and I'm going to talk about all of that. So what ended up happening is the doctor um tried to diagnose my mother over the phone. And that was the biggest red flag right there. And the reason why the doctor tried to diagnose my mother over the phone is because most of the hospitals inside of the United States do not have testing kits. They have limited testing kits. So they don't want to be overwhelmed with patients inside of the hospital. So what they're doing is like Skype interviews and phone interviews to ask people a series of questions to see if they actually have the disease, the virus. Now, the problem with that is every single person who has tested positive for the coronavirus has a different set of symptoms. If you notice, like, say, for instance, Tom Hanks' symptoms and his wife's symptoms are very different from, like, what's the guy's name from the Utah Jazz? His symptoms were different. So each set of people have a different set of symptoms, and there's no one set of symptoms that proves that a person has coronavirus. I had a friend of mine whose son had asthma, and he had a really, really bad attack. So she took him to the hospital, and they tested him for like flu, all of the other types of viruses that you could get, RVS, all of the things came back negative. And so she asked for them to test her son for coronavirus, and they refused to do it because you have to fit a specific type of health criteria before they even test you here. Now, in other countries, as you can see, they're testing people left and right? You can see that the cases that they have that have been reported is endless numbers of cases, right? Well, the reason why is because they're testing everybody. The reason why the cases are kind of low in the United States is because they're not testing people because there are not enough test kits. Now, if you've been watching CNN or MSNBC, you already know they've been speaking about the fact that we have limited testing kits. Okay, so like, again, like I said, everyone has different like symptoms as far as the coronavirus goes. Now, first of all, a red flag went up with my mother because I've seen my mother sick my whole life. Okay. I've been watching my mom have all kinds of issues with her health. She's been in and out of the hospital. So, of course, when I see something wrong with my mother, I know. So, the way that my mother was behaving, we tried to see, was it the flu? We thought maybe it was bronchitis. We thought maybe it could be her allergies, a common cold, things like that. We did think that, and we did process, try to see was that what was wrong with her first before we contacted the doctor. And so anyway, the doctor refuses to test my mother. One of the questions he asked my mother was, could she, now this is a determining factor according to doctors. If you can't take a deep breath without choking, then you don't have it. This was him diagnosing my mother. Now, my mother couldn't take a deep breath without choking. And when he ended up talking to her, by this time I had already given her the Mucinex. The Mucinex seems to be working. Okay. It, it just depends on the day with her. Like the Mucinex will work one day, Mucinex won't work another day. Or the allergy medicine will work one day and the allergy medicine won't work another day. What we decided to do is treat her as if she has any other type of virus and try to boost her immune system in order to get her to feel better. Because even if my mother was to be tested, let's say the doctors went ahead and tested her and the test came back positive, okay? They still don't know how to treat it. They still don't have a treatment for it. There's no cure for it. There's no vaccine for it, supposedly. So what would they do? Quarantine her. So what they're doing with everybody in the Bay Area is they are quarantining people. They're telling people, they're shutting down schools. They're shutting down businesses. People, it's still people moving around. At first, it used to be everybody was walking around with masks on. Now, people have stopped doing the mask thing because you realize now the mask is pointless because the mask is only for people who are already sick so they can't pass the flu or something to somebody else, right? But people who are completely fine, that's just walking around with no symptoms, like me and my daughter and my son, us putting on a damn mask is like a moot point, okay? So, putting on a mask, no one's doing that in debate from what I'm seeing. What I do see people doing, of course, is washing their hands. I see people with gloves on. One of the things that's the problem that's in the stores is there's no water, there's no toilet paper, there's no hand sanitizer, there's no mask, there's no Lysol. But one thing that's still sitting up on the shelf are vegetables, stuff that help you with your immune system. Of course, the cold medicines and stuff are gone, but stuff that you need that will actually help you to improve your health, improve your immune system so you can fight off this stuff is still sitting there on the shelf. Those are the things that people need to go get. You need to go get the things that will help your immune system because it doesn't matter if your immune system is weak and you're sitting here with the coronavirus or a friend of yours has the virus, you're going to get it, you're going to pass. Okay, that's if you're older. Supposedly, if you're older. Now, a lot of people have passed away from this because they're older, but they have underlying health conditions. And that's the thing that concerned me about my mother. So, this is what they told my mother to do. First of all, isolate herself. Okay, really? Isolate yourself because we don't have any testing kits and we're not going to test you. The only way they're going to test my mother, and this is what they said, the only reason why they would test my mother is if she had blue lips or blue fingertips. That means that not enough oxygen is entering her body and that she needs to go call 911. Now, my thing is, my mother has to drop dead or be close to dropping dead before they test her. So, people who are elite, let's say Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks, we just use him as an example now. Tom Hanks didn't have to wait for his lips to be blue and his fingertips to be blue in order for tested in Australia. There was no health criteria in order for a person to be tested. Again, everybody has different symptoms, and there's people out there that don't have symptoms that are just walking the streets and they're passing it to people. That's how my mother ended up with it. Now, they ask you, with the health criteria, they ask you, have you traveled? And if you haven't traveled to another country, they don't test you. And that's the problem, and that's what happened with my friend's son when she took him to the hospital, and clearly something was wrong with him, but they refused to test him for corona, even though all of the other viruses that they tested him for came back negative, and he was still sitting here struggling with breathing. They refused to test him. So there's a health criteria, and if you don't fit that criteria, they're not going to test you. Period. It doesn't even matter. So we supposed to wait until suddenly her lips are blue or her fingertips are blue, and then call the ambulance, and then the ambulance is supposed to pick her up, and then she's supposed to get tested. It's weird to me. Now, the fact that my doctor tried to diagnose her over the phone already was a red flag to me. But it kind of makes sense, because he's like, listen, we don't want you to spread it any further. And that's the biggest concern with a lot of people. If in fact you have the coronavirus, or a relative of yours has the coronavirus or whatever, how do you stop it from spreading to other people? Isolation, self-isolation, self-quarantine. That's the reason why all the toilet paper gone. Where are we at? It's like you can't find no toilet paper nowhere. I don't know why toilet paper is on the top of the list of things for people to buy, when there's so many other things that you need to be concerned about if you have coronavirus and are cooped up in the house for 2 weeks. Okay, now here's my thing. What is not being told to us is that majority of the people that do have the virus, their immune system just kicks into gear and heals them. Period. Game over. You understand what I'm saying? It's like your body just going to knock it out naturally. But the people who are having a problem with that already have immune problems, immune system problems, or they have diabetes. Like my mother has diabetes. She has high blood pressure. She has all of these other things that I have to factor in. When I'm concerned about, is this something she's going to live through, or is this something that's going to make her pass away? Now, my mother seemingly seems like this is just going to be, a really bad case of the flu. You understand? That's what it kind of, I want to say it kind of looks like that, but it's different. It's like you can be able to tell that something is different from all of the other times you've seen yourself have the flu, or if you've seen yourself have any type of virus. You kind of know your body, and okay, I'm feeling sick, but with this virus, with the coronavirus, it's something different. It's like worse. It's like something you've never ever seen. You know what I mean? Like in a person, and each person is different. I don't know anybody else that's had the the virus outside of the people that they talk about in the media. So I could only compare my mother's symptoms versus their symptoms, and each person seems to be different. And if you know the symptoms of a common cold, or if you know the symptoms of a flu, or if you know the symptoms of a coronavirus, it's 3 different types of things. But even some of the people that have tested positive for the virus, they didn't have the typical symptoms that they claim people with the virus had. So my advice to everybody who may be walking around in these streets and you're concerned about your family and whatever, the best thing that you can do, which is what I'm doing with my mom, is try to do whatever I can to help her boost her immune system. That means vegetables, everything, soup, everything, damn emergency if you can find some, any vitamin C, orange juice, any type of like flaxseed, the natural remedies to stuff. I don't want to pump my mother full of medications, because she's already on medications for her other health conditions. So I don't want to pump her full of a whole bunch of just stuff, just trying to kill a virus that I know nothing about. But what's I'm realizing is that the doctors don't even know what to do. So really, what can I do? If her own doctor don't even really know what to do, there's no treatment for it. There's no set treatment, because they don't even understand it yet. There's no real research for it. You got to treat it like it's just another virus, like it's the flu. That's just how you got to treat it. Okay, that's just what you got to do. Now, here's some other things that I wanted to discuss as we're talking about this, and please keep my mother in your prayers. My mother's a strong individual. She has survived a lot. So I think this will be something that she will survive. I don't think she's going to be one of those people that, suddenly passes away from it. But I still try to keep in the back of my mind that there's a possibility, a little small possibility. But for the most part, I think this is something that my mother is going to get through. because my mother is just resilient like that. So as we're going through this third week, because this is the third week that we about to go through this, and it's not as bad as it was at first. Because at first she didn't want to get out the bed, like she had aches and stuff, and she was extremely exhausted, meaning like she just didn't want to do anything. She just wanted to be in the bed. So that was the first week, and then the second week it was all like her lungs. It was like her lungs was trying to get something out. Like something was in it, so it was like her lungs was trying to get some type of mucus or something out of it, and she was just coughing excessively, like severely. And she's still coughing, but not as bad. So what we did was, like I said, that the second week it was all Mucinex. That Mucinex, so like Jesus Christ, that Mucinex is something serious, boy, because that kind of slowed stuff down. And you still have to factor in, some of you might have family members or people that have allergies, so you don't want the allergies and flaring, at the same time, because that's terrible. Like you can't, like, to have this virus and then to turn around and have to deal with your allergies at the same time is like a bit much. So she had to deal with that too. So it's just a lot of ugh with my mom, and I can only imagine what she was feeling, because she just kept saying, I don't feel well, I don't feel well, I don't feel well, I feel sick, I don't feel well. She was saying that a lot, and so she hasn't really been saying it as much. She keeps saying that she's feeling, like, slowly feeling a lot better, but she's still like coughing, like that hefty, like, cough, you know what I mean? So anyway, another thing I want to talk about is Sylvia Brown. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I posted this on my Facebook page, I believe. And it's a passage from Sylvia Brown's book. And Sylvia Brown, if y'all used to watch Montel, remember the Montel Williams show? Remember the Montel Williams show? Um, she used to come on there all the time and do like readings and stuff like that. Again, let me say this again before I move on. This is not a clickbait type of thing. This is literally something serious that's going on. This is not me trying to make up something. This is not me trying to get some money, because YouTube does not monetize this video. This is not clickbaity. This is so we can have a discussion and start, talking about something that we need to spread the awareness about. That's why I'm talking about it. I definitely wanted people to stop believing that African American people couldn't get something like this. I kept seeing that, and I was like, that's so ignorant. That is so ignorant and so arrogant. So please do not feel like, think that this is like a clickbaity thing, or that I'm trying to get some money, because the monetization is off. They won't put it on it. Okay, the YouTube ain't having it. And so anyway, with Sylvia Brown, if you know who Sylvia Brown is, she used to be, she's still a psychic, I think, but I haven't heard from her in a long time. And I think people kind of discredited her ability because of some predictions she did about the presidents and who would become president. And so she did this prediction that in the year 2020, and this was in her 2008 book. She had a 2008 book that she put out, and I can't remember the name of it, but inside of this passage, she had put, matter of fact, Kim Kardashian just posted it on her Instagram. The passage. Did she die? I don't know if she died, because I haven't seen her in a long time. I haven't seen her since this book. And this book was in 2008, I believe. And Kim Kardashian actually posted the same passage on her Instagram, just like yesterday, I think. And it was Courtney, her older sister, who had sent her the passage. But inside of the passage, Sylvia Brown kept saying that in 2020 there would be a disease that, basically a pandemic that uh, went around the entire world, and it would be like a pneumonia type of thing. And this is what this kind of reminds me of, pneumonia. From what I understand, the people that do have this virus, it kind of turns into something else. If you have other underlying conditions, of course, I say underlying conditions, of course you're going to have some type of issues, and it's going to cause some other types of problems with your body. Like people who have the HIV virus or usually they're not dying from having HIV or AIDS. They're dying because of other issues that they're having, other conditions, like they might end up with pneumonia, and that's how they end up dying. You know what I mean? So I think the one thing that I want to tell people not to do is panic. If you notice, I'm not really panicking, because it's like I need to have my mind clear and not be afraid, and be able to give my mother whatever it is that she needs in order for her to be able to survive something like this. Again, my son doesn't have any symptoms. My daughter doesn't have any symptoms. I don't have any symptoms. We are completely fine. It is just my mother. And it's been my mom for 3 weeks. So, we seem to be fine, and somehow she has it, and we've seen this happen in other couples. It's people out here whose wives or husbands have it, and then they don't have it. Another thing, they're not allowing in the Bay, they're not allowing 20 or more people inside of an establishment. So if you go to the grocery store, like one of the grocery stores I went to in Oakland, I just left Oakland. And one of the grocery stores there that I saw as I was, driving through, they had a line out front of the grocery store, and they weren't letting people in. And the people outside of the grocery store had on masks. And they were only letting in 20 people at a time. So you would have to wait for those 20 people to exit out of the grocery store before another 20 can get in. Because right now, all of the events that have more than 20 people are not allowed here. They're canceling everything. All events, school, work, people are working from home, people are staying in the house. And to me, I feel like, you should live your best life. You should go out there and still live life and still hang out with healthy people. If you're completely healthy, if you feel like you have no symptoms, and still go out there and live your everyday life. I mean, a lot of us got bills and stuff to pay. We got to go to work, but at the same time, it's like if you work in like retail or like fast food or something like that, in order for you to even be able to generate some income, people gotta be going out. Like say for instance, I drove Uber. You can't drive Uber when nobody wants to go nowhere. The most money I made off of Uber was me doing airport runs. Can't do airport runs if nobody's flying anywhere. You know what I mean? You can't make any money like that. So I was like, all right, if my side hustle is Uber, I don't drive, Uber anymore. But if my side hustle was Uber, I would turn around and I would do DoorDash or like Postmates or something like that. Because you can't drive nobody nowhere. So the one thing that you can do is deliver them something to them. And so what me and Dominique was doing earlier, me and my daughter, we were doing Postmates earlier. Now with Postmates, I don't know if y'all know about Postmates. It's kind of like DoorDash, but not really. Because with Postmates, you're doing like deliveries. You're doing like I'm delivering Apple phones and Apple watches to people, and Walmart deliveries and grocery store deliveries. You know what I mean? And it's different because it's like you really got to put forth some type of energy into it. It's almost like you heard of Instacart. People do Instacart if you're looking for some extra money, because people are in the house and they want stuff delivered to them. It's people that usually when I do Postmates or something, I'm delivering maybe like I said, like an iPhone or a watch or some iWatch or something like that. But today it was people wanting me to go to the grocery store for them. It was like orders that had like 24 to 40 items, and I would have to go in the grocery store and pick this stuff out. Or like if you do Postmates, usually it's like Walmart deliveries. If you order from Walmart, they instantly have the stuff ready for you and bring it out to you and put it in your trunk. So that's a way you can generate some income, but you can't make any real money while things are like this. And of course, we've seen, Trump feel some type of way about no money being made. I don't know why he won't go and get tested. I hope he gets tested because he was around the Brazilian president who ended up testing positive for the coronavirus. But I think just being the president of the United States, getting tested for this virus would just make sense. I don't know who voted for this dude. I don't know why y'all voted for this dude, but I'm telling you, anything that was in place to prevent this type of stuff from happening inside of our country, he basically destroyed that before it. I don't know why he got rid of. I think they had like a team or like an administration that Obama had created to tackle stuff like this. And he basically got rid of that administration. And now that's the reason why he's sitting here without any test kits. It doesn't make any sense that the United States of America is the only country that's sitting here without test kits. That's utterly ridiculous to me. Meanwhile, you got all of these other countries. Italy done shut down altogether. You got Australia. You got, of course, Wuhan and China and all these places. I mean, for this to be worldwide like this, I don't know. I think about the homeless people in the street. I'm not even seeing as many homeless people as I used to. I don't even know where the homeless people went because I don't see them in the street anymore. I don't know where they hiding, what they doing, but it's not as many as it was. They're doing something now. I can believe that homeless people are walking around here with the virus a lot quicker than the average everyday person that's working at school or working at a hospital or working at a restaurant or something like that. It make more sense for a homeless person to have this, but I don't know. I personally think that the best thing that you could do is not panic. Stop watching the goddamn news because I'm telling you, all that's doing is frustrating. All that do is frustrate me. Because I just be like, because if I have to look at another stupid ass press conference from Donald Trump, I swear to God, I'm going to lose my mind. Because this man is just taking no responsibility. None. Okay, and it's terrible to me. Now, is the media trying to scare us? Let's talk about that. Is the media trying to scare us? I do not believe that the media is trying to scare us, but I do believe that it's a lot of people out there that find it entertaining to be afraid. You understand? A lot of people love drama, and you have to remember, news media is still classified as entertainment. So they gonna make this thing be sensationalized as long as it's generating the views that it needs. And y'all sitting up in the house watching them, giving them the views that they need. Okay? That's what they looking for. That's what the advertisers are looking for. All right? So just keep this in mind. You know, I think that the reason why they're shutting down schools and the NBA season and March Madness and all of this stuff that's being shut down, because if they don't, of course there's going to be some type of uproar. Someone's going to feel uncomfortable somewhere, whether this virus is serious or not. If they don't start shutting down things, someone's going to feel some type of way about something. We've seen it on social media where people are so opinionated about every goddamn thing. Everybody is so sensitive, ready to sue this person and defame this person, degrade and disrespect that person. Of course, people in executive positions, no matter how much money they're going to be losing by shutting down their venue, their event, their whatever, they're still doing it because they feel like it's a bigger loss. This still is about money at the end of the day. And thinking about it from a business perspective, like say for instance, if you own Walt Disney World. Walt Disney World and Walt Disneyland are being shut down, right? Think about this. He's shutting it down. They're shutting it down, but they're still paying the employees for when they're gone. Where are they going to get the money from to still pay their employees if they aren't generating any money because they're closed? So either way, it's like it's a lose-lose situation because if they keep the stuff open, right, and a whole bunch of people end up getting sick at this one event, they'll get sued left and right. So they're losing money. If they shut it down and don't allow anybody in, but still pay their employees, which is like, it got to be over 46,000 employees at Disney World, at Disneyland. That's still them losing money. So it's like a lose-lose situation because it isn't open for them to take the cover charge that they make people pay, the concession stands, the food, all of the stuff, all of the money that's generated from these events and these businesses, they're not making the income. So they're still losing money. So it's just like, at the end of the day, I think everybody's biggest concern is, are we going to be in another recession because of this? It's another recession. And I feel like Obama just basically fixed the last recession we was in. So are we going to be in another recession? And I don't think we will be if we just shut down for 2 weeks. But if we have to lock down everybody because of this martial law type of thing where everybody got a curfew, they can't leave the house at a certain time, all this foolishness, I don't see it going well for the world. Not just the United States, but the world. And so I really hope that all of the stuff that we talk about, all of the concerns that we all have as just human beings, because this is a human being problem. This isn't a Democratic versus Republican problem. This isn't a black person versus a white person problem. This is a human being problem, the entire human race problem. And if we got to go past 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe even the next month of sitting in the house trying to avoid each other so we don't contract viruses from each other, this is going to become a bigger problem. So I hope that somehow this virus is contained, because I don't think it's contained in any country. Has anybody heard it being contained in any country? And don't get me started on Mexico. Do not get me started on Mexico talking about they want to shut down their border. They should have been shut down their border. They should have been, everybody should have decided no one flies in and out of anywhere a long time ago. But for Mexico to have the audacity to say we don't want Americans to bring something into our country, as if Mexicans didn't bring X, Y, and Z into our country. This was the whole reason why Trump wanted to build this stupid wall. So for Mexico to be like, quote unquote, a little arrogant, like, oh, you know, we don't want y'all inside of our country. We don't want you bringing the Rona up in our shit. You know, I'm just like, are you kidding me over here? Like, come on, man. I hope that this does not go beyond, because it's starting to get out of hand. Like I said, this morning I went to the Target, and the employees was in there complaining because before they even opened the Target, it was a long line of people outside the Target waiting to get in just so they can buy some damn toilet paper. That is ridiculous. And it looks to me like people don't really need tissue. They're just buying tissue so they can do a little Instagram photo and be like, here's my tissue, ready. It's the same thing with the masks and shit. Everybody was walking around with a little fancy ass mask on so they can have a nice little Instagram photo to say, yeah, I'm participating in this trend that we got going on now, wanting to put on a mask. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I realize that people sensationalize, people go overboard, and people take things too far sometimes. So I hope with this specific uh thing right here, this whole coronavirus, COVID-19 and all of this stuff, I hope that it dies down. Seriously, and I'm surprised that it took Americans this long to decide they want to wash their ass and hands. You should have been doing that. You know, it took the coronavirus for you to decide now you want to get some hand sanitizer and some tissue and some masks. And you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Like, I really just feel like as human beings in general, I believe we all have to start taking better care of ourselves. And I hope that this specific experience makes us better and helps us evolve into better people, making better choices. All right, so before I end this live stream, I need you guys to follow me on Instagram, because I will no longer be doing live streams on YouTube, public live streams. Okay, I will be doing members only live streams on YouTube and public live streams on Instagram. So you have to follow me on Instagram at therealsoncerae.com. My Cash App is Revenue DM. I brought this to y'all attention so y'all can have the conversations and start thinking logically and stop saying all the stupid stuff, because I'm seeing a lot of stupid, just dumb, just stuff on social media. And I wanted to bring this conversation up because of that, and I wanted to, share what's happening with me and my mom. And yes, she does have the virus, and yes, we are doing what we can to make sure that she is healthy and comfortable and feeling good throughout this, because even if she was at a hospital, what would they be doing? The same thing I'm doing, because they don't know what else to do. So I would prefer her to be in the comfort of our home instead of in a hospital with a whole bunch of strangers. That's all I know. So yeah, she's isolated. We've isolated her off to the side, and that's all we can do, and try to boost her immune system. So anyway, I appreciate y'all checking me out. If you have any questions, you can email me. Positive words and vibes only. I don't need the negativity. We're already going through too much, okay? Send us positive vibes, love, prayers. Hey, if you want to send us something to help, if, I don't know, our P.O. box is, I think it's, I'll put my P.O. box on the community tab if you want to send us something. I know somebody wanted to send us a care package with some CBD oil. I thought that was pretty good. They wanted to send CBD oil, some type of seeds, some type of fruits, anything that could like possibly help my mother. But I know a lot of people need to help their own situation, so they can't really help me out. But a lot of people had a lot of ideas to start sending care packets to my house. Yeah, so I'm gonna put my PO box on my community tab, and you can send stuff to the PO box, and we'll look through it. But I appreciate you listening and watching. Don't feel bad for me. We got this. We got God on our side. We be all right, okay? See, I don't feel sad for my mother. We don't need the sadness. We need some positivity. All right, that's what we need. Positivity, all right? Have vision and stay focused, y'all. Namaste.